putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's Kevin Jackson Show. I got to tell you, the things that the left focus on sometimes really perplexes me. And because it's easy to put things in perspective. So I'll give you an example. Donald Trump, they say, well, he made a comment about grabbing women by that women are okay sometimes with you grabbing them by the blank blank. And then you get Harvey Weinstein, and you'd think that that would be enough for them to go, okay, let's just drop the Trump thing. That's done. But they don't. Even when they're under fire, even when they know this is not good for us, guys, they still hold on. Still looking for that thing to rub into our faces. And they got nothing. They got no ammo. But they do it. When they talk about Black Lives Matter and the number of cops that are killing black folks for no reason, blah, 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 which, built on a lie. And then every single week, you look at the plotter for Chicago deaths. We take one city, folks, one city, Chicago, Illinois, and we can prove how much black on black crime, how much crime against black people that just happens in a normal community that dwarfs the police shootings by comparison. So the last police shooting of any note happened, this one happened before Michael Brown, but it was the Anthony Lamar Smith because the verdict came after. That's been 2 months ago. And not another black person has been killed controversially that I'm aware of, because we certainly would know some city would be burning if we knew about it, right? But in the meantime, every single day, and particularly they reported every single weekend, the Chicago Tribune reports on the deaths that happen in one city. And in that one city, in one weekend, there are more blacks killed by other blacks for silly, stupid reasons than all the cops killing of blacks in a decade that are controversial. And the left says nothing. So this weekend, 8 individuals were killed this last weekend. 8 individuals were killed in Chicago and 11 wounded. And this is CBS Chicago. They say one of the deceased was a 64-year-old woman who was struck by a stray bullet in the Rogers Park neighborhood on the north side. She was hit around 6:30 p.m. Math teacher at Chicago Waldorf School. Doing nothing. Innocent victim of some senseless crime, probably fought over because of drugs or prostitution or whatever. Gang related. Who knows? They said the rest of the weekend, I'm reading this, was full of more typical Chicago gun violence and gun deaths. The killing of an unidentified 22-year-old man Sunday, 11:10 a.m. This is in the morning. Probably going to church is a case in point. He was walking on the sidewalk in the 6700 block of South Jeffrey when 2 males exited a Ford car nearby and opened fire. The man suffered gunshot wounds to the chest, arm, and back of his head, was pronounced dead at the scene less than 30 minutes later. 2 black males in gray clothing. That's all they got. The weekend violence brings the number of Chicago homicides to 558 for 2017. They listed the overall number of shootings in Chicago, 3,014 for 2017, and that's through the October 15th. So there have been over 3,000 shootings, well over 500 deaths, approaching 600. It will hit 600, undoubtedly. It isn't going to hit the 715 of last year, more than likely. They said nearly 800 were shot and killed in Chicago during 2016, 4,400 shooting victims. So they're going to call this a good year. More than one person dying, almost 2 people dying per day in Chicago, and they're going to say, it was a very good year. It was a good year. God, it amazes me. But you know what the left are fixated on? The NFL players taking a knee. They're taking a knee. And I could go on with the insanity of everything that these people are going to talk about. Bo Bergdahl's back in the news. You guys hear this story? Bo Bergdahl. Here, let's play the clip.
Now to that ABC News exclusive. Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is talking to cameras for the first time since being released by the Taliban after he was captured walking off a combat outpost in Afghanistan. That was 8 years ago. Well, this morning he is expected to plead guilty to charges of desertion and endangering his fellow soldiers at Fort Bragg. Our chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross is here with much more on all this. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Robin. Sergeant Bergdahl is expected to enter his guilty plea to desertion charges during a court-martial hearing that begins this morning at Fort Bragg. In an exclusive TV interview this morning, Bergdahl says it would be impossible to get a fair trial given the words of candidate Donald Trump, who is now his commander-in-chief.
My name is Bo Bergdahl.
Bo Bergdahl had been held 5 years by the Taliban when he was released in this dramatic moment. Squinting in the sunlight after being confined to a cage by his captors, U.S. Special Forces were there for the handover. As Bergdahl was gaining his freedom, the U.S. was releasing 5 Taliban prisoners from Guantanamo as part of a prisoner swap, a deal that became a highly politicized issue, especially given that Bergdahl had walked off his post without permission and that at least 2 soldiers were seriously injured during the search to find him.
He's a traitor, a no-good traitor, who should have been executed.
Now in his first on-camera interview, obtained exclusively by ABC News, Bergdahl says the words of candidate Trump would have made a fair trial impossible.
We may as well go back to kangaroo courts and lynch mobs that got what they wanted.
Bing, boom, he's gone.
The people who are to the point of saying, yeah, just shoot him, you can never convince those people to change their minds. And
it hurts, though.
It does hurt.
Bergdahl told British filmmaker Sean Langan, himself held by the same Taliban group, that he wants to fight back against what he calls the false reports that he was a traitor.
And had declared himself a, quote, mujahid, or warrior for Islam.
It's insulting. It's very insulting, the idea that they think I did that.
In fact, according to Army officials, Bergdahl twice tried to escape from his captivity and was severely punished, beaten, and put in a cage like an animal.
It's a cage that was welded together. It's about 7 foot long by about 6 foot wide.
And how long were you in that cage for?
2nd, 3rd, 4th, and into the 5th year.
Now that he plans to plead guilty, the question for the military will be, what punishment does Sergeant Bergdahl deserve, including possible prison?
Well, welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Do we really know the truth about Bergdahl? I don't know. Did the guy really walk away from his unit? What happened? And there's a part of me that doesn't care outside of the fact that I know some people died looking for him. Did he get treated with respect? I don't know. But here's what I will tell you. I'm talking about by the Taliban or whoever captured him. But here's what I do know. His dad was an avowed Muslim. The dude spoke Arabic if I hadn't seen a video and you had told me that dude just said that, I would have been like, no, shut up, quit joking. He didn't just say that. Did you hear him when he was talking about the different things and the traditions of it? So as they say, the apple doesn't land too far from the tree. I have to believe that his dad had a big influence on his thoughts around the Taliban or the people fighting against us. I'll put it to you this way. My 4th son, to say something, okay, so I'll give you a good example. My 4th son is a big-time Stephen Curry fan. And I told him Stephen Curry refused to go to the White House because he doesn't like President Trump. Now, his older brother had given him a present, a Christmas present, that was a Stephen Curry jersey that this kid adores, loved this jersey. After I told him that, my son, I'm not exaggerating this one bit, he comes in, he says, Dad. I said, yeah, buddy. He goes, you think Corey will get mad if I burn Stephen Curry's shirt? And I go, I said, son, I don't think you need to go that far. And, he goes, I'm not wearing it anymore. He goes, he disrespected the president. This kid, you want to talk about a chip off the block? Half the time I should let him do my show. Other than his voice, his little naughty bits haven't dropped. You wouldn't even know. He is a dyed-in-the-wool, right-thinking, free-thinking individual that knows how to think for himself. I promise you, yeah, do I influence him? Heck yeah. But he knows how to think for himself. And I'm proud of that. So I look at Bergdahl and I go, what are you talking about? This dude, probably did exactly what they said. Now he wants to blame us. I didn't do that. They're telling you lies. But again, what can we believe? The only thing I can say is Barack Obama trading 5 really bad guys for him, bad move. There's no way you can rationalize that. Not anyway. Even if it's my kid, I would say, how do we trade 5 bad guys for 1? We can get a better deal. And there are many other elements of this story that don't add up, but they don't add up for Bergdahl. If he was just a captured soldier, this country would rally around him, and the media certainly didn't indicate that it was anything more than a traitor.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.